first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, we appreciate you joining us. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. And if you are a frequent watcher of this show, you know on Thursdays around 1:30 p.m., we are joined by the one and only Eric Goranson from around the house Northwest to provide us, well, one, a preview of this week's episode. We usually get a little bit of a preview on that, but also some good tips and tricks, and particularly for this one around the holidays. This is a good idea to learn how to do.
Absolutely. And probably this is about the time, brother, that my internet cuts out, right? Because now that I'm talking about Murphy's Law says that we go, but
yeah, exactly.
How to supercharge your internet. And I've learned so many tricks and tips on this. And a lot of stuff is free. Just do it from home. And the first thing I always say is figure out where you're starting with. Jump on and, Google up speed test and see what it is through your Wi-Fi. And if you can plug into your router with a laptop or a desktop, see what you're getting first, so you kind of know what you're working with. And many times, if you look at your internet bill from whoever your provider is, you might look and go, I'm getting 20% of what I'm paying for. Why is that? Troubleshoot.
Yeah, figuring out why that is. Why are you getting such less of a speed for what you're paying for?
Oh yeah, and the first thing I always recommend is restart your router. If you can jump on, if you're on like Comcast Xfinity, you can jump on the app and restart it through there and do that. But probably restarting that router for most internet providers once a month gets you the best service. And it restarts itself, it reboots it up, and it goes, oh, I need some updates from the provider. And it'll force those things to happen. So that's kind of the first thing that I do to make sure that you're looking good. Second of all, sometimes if you've got an older computer or laptop, it could be just the hardware inside your machine is old enough that it's not meant to go that fast. So also test on your phone too and see how that's going. And you can speed test on that while going through your wireless system and see, as you're connected into your Wi-Fi, how that's doing as well. And really, a lot of people have old equipment. And that doesn't cost anything usually to get it upgraded. If you, let's say you're a Comcast Xfinity person or a Charter or one of those guys, they're not really helpful in getting you new equipment. So take a look. If you're looking on the commercial, you go on their website and go, that doesn't look anything like I have in my house, and it's probably older than 2 years. Most likely there's a way faster system out there that you can run down to the store or send off to them, and they'll send you new gear for nothing.
Yeah, that is when I had to learn that lesson too, because they're not going to go out and just reach out to you randomly and be like, hey, we noticed you got some old stuff. No, you have to contact them. But like you mentioned, though, I mean, it's usually free or a free upgrade for them to trade that stuff out.
Yeah, and the other trick, too, is while you're on the website, look and see what they're charging you. If you deal with these guys probably once or, every year and say, hey, things are too expensive. A lot of times when you log on and look at the price, you're like, that's way cheaper than what I'm paying right now, and it's faster service. If it's been 3 or 4 years since you've talked to your internet provider, there's a great chance you're paying way too much for a slower upgrade. You could jump on there and say, hey, I want to save some money. And they go, oh yeah, you're on that old system. We could save you 30, 40 bucks a month and get you 3 times the speed. I've seen that happen more times than not.
Yeah. And that's another thing though, as you mentioned, you got to look out for that. So going on there and logging on and checking that out. Good way to do that.
And, you can get super high speeds now through, the coax cable from some of these providers. And so I thought, because I had a school down the street here a couple of years ago, I'm like, I got a school down the street in the afternoon. It's not working well. Come to find out, I had a squirrel that was eaten into the line up on the pole. And when I called, got them to come out and look at it, come to find out that was the problem.
It was a squirrel?
Squirrels cause most of the damage around here, to believe it or not, chewing through the wires, and they do a ton of damage to our internet stuff out there. So when they're up on the pole, they do a lot of damage. So it's kind of funny, but that's the best way to do it. Just get on the phone, and when in doubt, give them a call and have them come out and take a look at it. And it's not like they charge you for that service call anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, some really good things that everybody can do there. I mean, starting with what you said, just restarting your router, which is a good idea to do every month. And that reminds me, I need to do that too. Just general maintenance.
Now, here's another thing. If you've got wired system in your house, that's awesome. That's always a good way to do it. However, you know those little Ethernet switches you have that you can plug in like 4 things out of, and one comes in and goes 4 or 5 go out of it to plug in your like Cat 6, 7, 8 cable. Those get out of date as well. So you could have something, if it's 4 or 5 years old, your internet speeds are probably faster than what that thing can handle. So it might be a simple jump on Amazon or head down to Best Buy and spend another 30 or 40 bucks and get a new one. That could be a gate there that's slowing down your entire system if you're using wired. And my thing is, if you can use wired system in your house, use it where you can, because it's going to be faster anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Always good to be able to do that. Just to drill a hole, have it, run it through there.
Yep.
Yeah. Run it through the system. Yeah. Yeah. Good idea. But that's another good point. Yeah. As that stuff can go out of date as well.
And then one last thing, and we've talked about it before, but if you have, people gaming your house, or you're streaming and you've got over probably a 1,200 square foot house, taking a look at the new mesh Wi-Fi systems out there. Basically what that does is it takes your one router and makes it into 3 separate different antennas that put it out around the house. So it's really cool. It'll eliminate those kind of blank spots behind fireplaces, behind washers and dryers and HVAC units, and it cuts those shadow areas out where something metal or big like a refrigerator can block that Wi-Fi signal. So if you really want to have your cameras working right outside of the home, sometimes that mesh system for $100, $200, it's pretty inexpensive right now. Put that in the house and that'll get you fast Wi-Fi around the entire place. Get something that's at least Wi-Fi 6 or higher, so that way you've got something that'll handle it for a few years and keep you moving fast. And then it doesn't matter if somebody's gaming in the house and you're jumping on a Zoom meeting, it'll handle all that.
Good idea. Yeah, to be able to, especially if you do have that many different things that are going on there within the home. And around the holidays, you might have a lot of people there who are going to be using it for a lot of different things.
Oh, you could have friends and family over. The kids are Zooming, or sitting there streaming a movie. And of course, they're always grabbing it in 4K. So they're using up a lot of bandwidth. And, the more stuff we add to our house and the more people we add to our house, the more we're taxing that. So it's a great time to jump on it now. And since we're a few weeks before the holidays, if you need service, it's a little easier to get somebody out there versus the week of Christmas or New Year's.
Always good to think about it ahead of time. Anything else that you think is that people should pay attention to? You've got a lot right there.
Yeah, that's a lot right there. Just take your time and watch those speeds and then compare it to what you're paying for. And that's just a good benchmark to see where you're at. I've got my system tuned up where I'm getting about 20% more than what I'm paying for. And so I'm not going to complain about that. And one last thing, if your provider gives you a speed test, I don't always trust those. So test your own online and take a look at that and use some of the speed test tools that are free out there and make sure that, they're not giving you something that's 100% accurate.
Yeah, good idea. Maybe check a couple of places too to get a good average on there. All right, well, some great advice. So again, everybody, you can share this segment too, and certainly something to think about here before the holidays. And like you mentioned too, get somebody out there if you need to. Might be better to do it right now rather than later on. When it comes to this week's episode, do we have any kind of a preview that we can talk about?
We go out to a vintage, beautiful home that is on the historic National Register that is gorgeous, that was just remodeled. And this is the Guthrie house up on Mount Scott. And this place is stunning and beautiful. So just freshly remodeled, gorgeous. There is so many things inside this. It is such a great inspiration for little projects around your house. You're like, oh, I want to do that. And they just restored it beautifully and kind of upgraded it slightly where it's, go through the house systems and make sure that all that electrical and plumbing is dialed in. You really can't see that they did a lot of stuff to it, but they really cleaned it up and gave it the love it needed because, it's had almost 100 years of wear to it. So it needed a little help. And boy, it's stunning.
Nice. I always love those behind the scenes things that you get to take everybody on, as part of Around the House Northwest. You get to see places that most people wouldn't normally get to see and see how all that works. That's awesome.
And then the other fun one is we went out, the Rebuilding Center, who is one of my favorite people out there. If you've never visited them up on Mississippi, those guys are awesome. If you're looking to donate those used materials, we go out and visit a contractor who was deconstructing a kitchen remodel and went through that and watched them deconstruct and then watched it end up back at the Rebuilding Center so somebody could take those maple cabinets that were probably going to end up going in a dumpster or they could go into somebody else's home. And so it's really great. Those guys do such a great job of, one, selling used building materials or previously used ones so they can support their efforts. But there's such a big community effort where they have classes. If you want to learn how to DIY, they've got a whole classroom schedule in there so you can learn how to do stuff, as well as help out people in need in the community. Just a massive fan of the Rebuilding Center up there. Those guys just do killer work. So we kind of get to watch that from start to finish and go from taking cabinets off the wall to ending up there at the store.
Very cool. And all that's going to be part of this week's episode. And for everybody out there, how and where can they watch?
All right, you can check it out. If you missed last week's episode, we checked out an AIA award-winning home last week. That'll be tomorrow morning, Friday morning, 8:30. Fox 12 Plus you'll see that show there. And of course, the brand new one we just talked about, 10 a.m. Saturday, Fox 12 Plus, and of course, 6 o'clock on Sunday. So if you don't like that football game that's out there, you can turn over that and watch that and catch the latest at 6 o'clock on Sunday.
There we go. So plenty of places there to find it out. And of course, on our YouTube channel, we've got a lot of clips from what you've done. I don't even know where we're at right now. Hundreds.
Almost 600. So
wow. So good place to go and take a look through there too, especially if you've got something in mind. You can scroll through there and take a look at some of Eric's clips. And you can always watch the Fox 12 Now clips there also. So thanks everybody for joining us. Eric, always so great to have you here on the show.
Thanks, brother. Always appreciate it. It's always a good time hanging out with you.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching, again, this is Fox 12 Now. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, as we do every weekday. Lots of stuff that we cover. Coming up at 2 o'clock today, I'm going to be talking to the people behind those glass floats that are left on the beach in Lincoln City. They've been doing it for 25 years, and they're having a celebration of that. So we're going to talk about that, about how all that works, and that's, again, coming up at 2 o'clock. So whatever platform you're on, if you're watching live, come and join me right back here at 2 o'clock. I'll talk to you then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.